Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome you to a new video where I will be previewing the newest champion that is coming to League of Legends very soon, Vel'Koz. In this video, I will go through each of the abilities, show you what it does, explain it to you, and put some really nice gameplay footage in the background so you guys can get a better idea of how this champion looks and plays while I go over each of the skills, explaining why I think certain skills are good or bad. And hopefully by the end of this video, you will have a better idea of whether or not this champion will suit you, or if this is something you should be looking forward to or not. So let's start off with his passive. His passive is every time you land a skill on an enemy champion or minion, you put a mark on them as you see right there, the triangle looking thing. Once a target gets to 3 charges, so it pretty much gets hit by a spell 3 times or your ultimate for 1.5 seconds, they will take additional bonus true damage. This complements his burst kit very well. A target can simply run away for a few seconds to completely remove the stacks. On the contrary, Vel'Koz can also use his auto attack to refresh the timer for the stacks to go away. All in all, this passive is extremely useful because Vel'Koz is all about being a poke and or burst type champion, which of course means that this passive complements his burst potential extraordinarily and makes him do a lot of damage, quite surprisingly a lot more than you would think. So a lot of his gameplay does somewhat revolve around comboing your skills in a specific way. Not only to land all of them because every single skill he has is a skill shot, but also to get 3 stacks of your passive on a target for that bonus damage. But of course that is just his passive, so let's dive into his main core skills now, of course starting off with his Q. His Q fires a bolt down a path with an indicator showing the max range. Once it reaches the max distance, or you hit a target or you press Q again, the single ball will disperse into 2 balls flying 90 degrees away from each other. It also provides a really nice slow. So this spell has quite a bit of damage from its base damage and the AP ratios. In terms of harassing and or poking, this is probably his main skill, maybe his W, I'm not sure yet. But in terms of being able to do a specific amount of damage at a very fast rate, this is probably the one you want to go with. The only problem I have with this skill is that it can be slightly awkward to use at first, especially if you're not used to it, just because of the way the balls disperse once they reach the max point, or if you press Q again like you see there, I pressed it, made it disperse halfway, or if it hits a target. A very important thing I want to mention about this ability is that the balls do not go through targets. That means that the initial one will stop at the first target it hits and then disperse, and the 2 ones that come out will also stop at the first target it hits, meaning that it does not do AoE damage, nor will it go through targets and deal damage to multiple targets. This is why I mentioned earlier that it can be awkward, especially in the laning phase, since of course the minions are there and it can be very hard to land, which is why you'll have to get used to using double Q instead. Kinda like what I did there to the Morgana. His W ability is a bit more interesting. The first part of the ability is that when you throw down in the line like this, it does a bit of initial damage, and then after a bit of delay, it does more damage as it explodes. This ability will also apply 2 stacks of your passive if both times hit. Also, this ability can have 2 stacks for you to be able to use rather than just 1 and then wait for the cooldown, similar to a Teemo Shroom. All in all, I have to say that this is a really nice skill. It can be actually quite hard to land the second part of it because most people, of course, naturally will just run away, which is why you want to try comboing a lot of his other skills. For instance, his Q does provide a slow if you land it on your target, so does his ultimate, and his E provides a very small knockup. So naturally, you're gonna want to try comboing your skills as best as you can in order to have the W hit both times because it will do a lot of damage if it hits the second time. Another very useful thing about his W is that it is extremely good at wave clearing. So here are 2 clips showcasing just how good it can be. As a new minion wave comes in, I simply line that up with the W, and then both explosions pretty much wipe out the whole wave. It can be very useful to have a champion with an ability that can wipe waves in an instant, which is why his W is extremely good. As you can see, it clears that wave in a matter of seconds as long as you use both charges properly. So all in all, this is probably the best spell in a teamfight to deal a lot of damage to a lot of people other than his ultimate. But like I said, it can be very hard to land both hits, especially the second one since it deals the most damage unless you combo your skills properly. His E ability is his main and only form of hard CC, and by hard CC I mean something that actually stuns or knocks up. In a small AoE area, he will fire a bolt that will knock all targets in the air for a matter of seconds, and if he uses it on a target that is really close to him, it will also knock him back. So naturally, you can instantly assume that this is probably going to be one of your best skills in order to set up your target for all of your spells, especially your W. The damage on his ability is nothing to laugh at, and that goes for all of his abilities because they all deal pretty good damage at a pretty low mana cost. On top of this, all of his abilities have pretty good range as well. However, the bad thing about this champion is that he is extremely slow, even with +2 boots. As you can see, I have the Sorcerer boots. 385 move speed is very small. So of course, with having really long range, crazy damage on his spells, he has to be extremely slow. It kind of makes up for it, and it makes perfect sense. So all in all, his E ability is very good, but it's more of the CC setup ability. It's not the one you want to max first. In fact, it's the last one. And now his ultimate. This one fires a big ass beam with a pretty decent range at all the targets in the area. He cannot move or cast any other spells while he's doing this, and the beam will follow your mouse cursor. It lasts for, I believe, 2.5 seconds, dealing damage every 0.5 seconds, as well as applying a stack of his passive every 0.5 seconds. Pressing R once more while you're channeling will cancel it prematurely. So his ultimate is, of course, the biggest spell in his arsenal, and for good reason. It does immense damage. I mean, the damage is huge, and the main reason it's so large is because of his passive. His ultimate will apply his passive in a matter of seconds, literally in 1.5 seconds. A target could go from 0 stacks to full stacks. Also, the good thing about this ultimate is that it's not like Lucian's ultimate, where it'll just simply hit the first target that it makes contact with. Instead, it will just go through each target, meaning that it can hit many targets at the exact same time. So in a teamfight, I'm sure you can all guess that this ultimate can be very, very devastating. Now I want to go over what skills I max, how I combo his skills, and also which items I get on him. For now, what I'm leveling is his Q first, W second, E last, and of course ultimate whenever I can. For comboing his skills, let's take a look at an example I showed you at the beginning of this video. As I go for the Caitlyn, I simply throw my E first, and then I throw my W, and then I throw my Q. I make sure to throw the W right after the E to give it enough time to hit the target twice. And then I throw the Q right after for the slow and immense damage that it provides. In terms of items, I actually think getting a Tear the Goddess into an Archangel staff can be pretty good because you do spam his skills quite often, especially since they have a very low mana cost. But that is all a guess right now because I have not tried it yet, and just from thinking about it after playing him, it's probably a good idea. What I built on him in my first few games was an Athene's first into a Death Cap. I usually follow it up with a Void Staff, into maybe Zhonya's, and then maybe into a Morello Nomicon. Another thing I realized after playing him for a few games is that getting Ignite on him may not be the best choice, since he's so slow and since he has not many good escapes other than maybe his E, and even then it's not that good. It can be really hard for him to survive certain situations, especially when someone dives you. So instead of Ignite, maybe getting Teleport or even Barrier could be better options, but I have yet to test this. Keep in mind, this is of course a first impressions video. But of course, with all of that being said, this does mark the end of this video. So I really hope you guys have learned something new and learned just how well this champion can be played, if it's something you should look forward to or not, and all that good stuff. For some final closing words and thoughts. Overall, I think this champion is actually in a pretty good spot. For once, I don't think a champion that's coming out very soon and it's on the PBE so far is completely overpowered, nor do I think he's underpowered. I honestly think he's in a pretty good spot, and this is primarily due to the fact that a lot of his skills, if not actually all of them, are skill shots. And on top of that, in order to get his full combo on, well, I mean, you're gonna have to combo his skills, or you're just gonna whiff skills left and right. The only thing I see being a little bit overpowered is his ultimate comboed with his passive, because the damage is huge and the range is amazing. But all in all, this champion is definitely something I'm looking forward to. He's going to be an extremely high burst champion, but also very immobile. So tell me what you guys think. Are you looking forward to this champion, or are you probably going to skip on buying this new one? Personally, I'm definitely going to buy him, and I'm probably going to run him a few games. Even though I really love mobile champions, which is why obviously I play a lot of assassins, he's still a really fun champion because I also enjoy high burst champions. But that does mark it for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new and maybe got a better idea of whether or not this champion is for you. If you enjoyed it, please definitely throw in a like down below, and also please follow me on my social medias, Facebook, Twitter, on Nook pages. Description below contains the links for all of those. But once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time. Peace!